Episode 19, The Death of Don from Salinas. They say death don't discriminate, but my line of work, it sure seems to play favorites. This time it picked off a legend. A man known up and down the AM dial as the voice from the valley, the hammer of Salinas. Don. Just Don. No last name, didn't need one. If you heard him, you remembered him. And if you were liberal, you probably needed gauze afterward. I was halfway through a cold cup of last Tuesday's coffee when the call came in. I nearly choked on a cigarette filter when they said the name, Don, from Salinas. Found face down on his riding mower, parked next to a battered AM radio and a half-finished tirade about public radio funding. Dead. Real dead. The kind of dead even talk radio can't argue with. I lit up a fresh cigarette and headed out to Salinas. The place was changing fast. What used to be hard farm country now looked like a strip mall matted with a traffic jam. But Don held the line. Every day from his porch, his truck, or his rotary dial landline, he called in and delivered a thunderous verbal backhand to whoever needed it. His enemies list was longer than a farmer's receipt. Billy Sunshine, Timothy Walton, the Planning Commission, 3 separate city councils, and one unlucky vegan who said cows had feelings. Don gave them all hell, and they kept coming back for more. When I arrived at the scene, there were no tire tracks, no footprints, no blood. Just Don, frozen in a death grip around his landline handset, mouth still open, like he died mid-rant. There was a note duct taped to his chest, a poem. Roses are red, commies are fake. Freedom ain't free. I once lost a spatula in a snowstorm. Another one. Another poem that rhymed until it didn't. I'd seen this before, and every time it meant one thing. The final stanza was back. I remember one call Don made that shut down the phone lines for 30 minutes. Some guest was rambling about wealth redistribution, and then Don unloaded, said if they wanted socialism so bad they should go try it out in Venezuela, and call back when they ran out of toilet paper. The studio lit up like a Christmas tree of angry callers and secret applause. Don had a way of slicing through nonsense like a ginsu through a baked potato. He didn't do small talk. He didn't do nuance. He did full-throttle American firepower, aimed directly at whatever he thought was fouling up the country. He never called for fame. He never called to be liked. He called because silence meant surrender. Don was the sound of resistance coming through a dusty receiver. Somewhere between the farm report and coast-to-coast AM, he left a mark. Not just on the callers or the hosts, but on the air itself. The coroner said no trauma, no poison, no bullet hole, no heart attack. But Don's eyes were wide open, like he'd seen something no man should. Something so dumb, so offensively woke, it flatlined him. Death by ideological aneurysm. I questioned the usual suspects. Billy Sunshine claimed he was at a kombucha tasting. Timothy Walton was defending a sentient vending machine accused of price gouging. Everyone had an alibi. Even the vegan had relocated to Berkeley for emotional tofu support. That left one possibility. The killer was a ghost. A myth. A whisper in the comments section. The final stanza, my old nemesis, always leaves a note, always breaks the rhyme, always one step ahead. I tracked a trail of odd political flyers, passive-aggressive sidewalk chalk, and one suspicious guy handing out hugs outside of Trader Joe's. It led me to a community center where a poetry slam had just wrapped. I was too late. The mic was still warm. All that was left was the smell of chai, a crooked podium, and another duct-taped note. Liberty's torch still lights the way. Truth was the hill where dawn would stay. He never flinched, he'd never sway. I now identify as a flashlight. I miss them again. But I ain't done. Dawn deserves better than a punchline with pronouns. I'll keep chasing shadows till the next verse drops. And I'll be there, cup in hand, smoke curling, eyes burning like my last denied disability claim. I took one last look at Dawn before they zipped him up. A patriot. A real deal, pain in the butt. A man who fought the good fight with nothing but his voice, his mower, and a 5G-proof phone line. He deserved a 21-gun salute, but all I had was a lighter and a stale pack of Defiance. Final thoughts? Some men build things. Others tear things down. Dawn built a fortress out of phrases cemented with conviction. Even the ones who hated him tuned in, just to hear what he'd say next. That's power. Not from a title, not from a platform, but from sheer, immovable will. There won't be another Dawn from Salinas. Not in this lifetime. And if there is, God help the next city council meeting. Dawn didn't leave this one. I did. Here's something for the final stanza, my old shadow, always scribbling riddles and vanishing in the fog. You want poems? Fine. Here's one from me. You leave these poems like smoke rings and fog, 3 lines of rhyme, then you jog my dog. You think you're clever, you ghost in the smog. I once ate soup with a fork, just to prove a point. Until next time, Billy Armi, Detective.